Hi and welcome to Inderes TV. Today we are at the Wärtsilä's headquarters and here with me is Wärtsilä CEO Håkan Agnevall. Hi Håkan.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you and congratulations. It was a really good result and the full year also. What were the highlights of Q4?
I think order intake is strong. I mean, both in the quarter and actually over the full year. Organically, we are up more than 20% in order intake. All-time high order intake for Wärtsilä for the full year of 7 billion euro. So that is really encouraging. And then, of course, we continue to grow sales organically up 7%. And we are taking significant steps on our profitability journey. So 2023 was really a year when Wärtsilä developed positively in many areas. And we managed to continuously improve our financial performance throughout the year. So all-time high order intake, all-time high on sales, all-time high on cash flow. Yeah. And not all-time high on profit yet, but we are moving in the right direction, taking a step to the right direction. Then, if we look at our business, we continue to execute our strategy, the Wärtsilä way, and shaping the decarbonization of marine and energy. So, in Q4, we actually launched our ammonia engine. So now we have a new fuel in our portfolio, and it's commercially available. We have the letter of intent with the first customers, so it's rolling on. Then, if we zoom out, looking at the year, we are introducing new methanol-enabled engines. So we're actually bringing 4 new engines to the methanol portfolio. We will have the industry's broadest methanol portfolio. And then it's not only about the fuels, it's hybrid solutions combining batteries with combustion engines. We are the market leader of hybrid solutions for vessels. And then carbon capture. And we will have the first pilot this year and then go into commercial offering in 2025. So I think we have many concrete proof points that we are a technology leader and we are really moving on. And the third element, services. I mean, service is more than half of Wärtsilä's business. Extremely important for customer satisfaction, also for our profitability. Yeah. And we have this strategy we've been talking about, moving up the service value ladder. So the steps of the ladder, we have the spare parts and transactional business, we have the agreements, we have retrofits and performance-based agreements, and we see it's really working out. We are growing the business profitably, double-digit, and we have ample growth opportunities also going forward. 30% of our running fleet, approximately, is under coverage, so there is ample growth opportunities. And I think the strongest proof point for our service business, we have 90% renewal, around 90% renewal rate of our service agreements, which for me is the strongest proof point that customer thinks that we create value.
Yeah, many good things are happening, and we have earlier spoken many times about your service business and it's driving really well. But what are the other key elements that your financial performance have been going so well during last year?
Yeah, so service is one. Yeah. One is that we are improving the quality of the revenues in our project business, primarily on the energy side. So as you know, we have been stabilizing the project portfolio. We had one big piece of the project portfolio that was heavily affected by cost inflation. We have worked that out. We have a better risk-reward balance. So that is the second driver. Better quality of our revenues and order backlog. Then 3 is we have now turned the battery storage business to profit. And it has been loss-making in the past. Now it's profitable. We continue to grow it. And then the fourth is our voyage business. You remember we had a voyage business. We split it up. But we can really see that now that what used to be voyage, those 2 units, they are still loss-making, but they have significantly reduced losses, so they are on a really good track. I would say those are the 4 major drivers.
How would you describe the market sentiment around Wärtsilä?
I think it's pretty good. I mean, you saw that we increased our guidance for the demand outlook for marine to better than previous 12 months. On energy, we maintain better. So with these two, I think these are clear indications that the market sentiment is good. Of course, there are uncertainties. I think the biggest uncertainty is the geopolitical tensions.
Yeah.
I mean, Middle East, China, US. This is the big election year. We all know that. How that plays out and how that could affect world economy and interest rates, that will, of course, have an impact on Wärtsilä. But I think the general sentiment for Wärtsilä is positive.
Are you seeing any delays in your customers' decision making?
I would not say on the marine side.
Yeah.
It's really moving ahead. You could say clearly supported by the regulatory changes. On the energy side, I would say, and we could communicated that before, that the higher interest had some impacts on certain power plants projects that have been sliding in time. So there is a correlation there. Having said that, we do see a rather strong pipeline for the power plants business going into 2024. We said that the second half of 23 would be stronger on order intake for the thermal power plant. It was. We had a really good run in December towards the end of the year, and we do see a fairly strong pipeline going into 2024. But I mean, the interest concern is it's still there, and it could have some impact on the power plant. But as I said, the general sentiment is positive.
You already did mention the geopolitical tensions and the situation in the Red Sea. It's not the clearest one. So have you seen any impacts on that one?
I mean, so far on our supply chain, very limited impact in terms of disturbances. I mean, basically the major flows now will take another route, and there is a delay of a couple of weeks. But it's a different magnitude than if we go back a couple of years when everybody was suffering from COVID and the consequences of that. So we monitor the situation closely, but so far no major impacts on Wärtsilä's supply chain. Of course, when the vessels travel, they generate more service business, but that is also rather limited. So far, to sum it up, not a major impact.
I asked from the investors about the questions that they want to hear from you, answers, and this is one of them. How do you see the Western efforts to reduce dependency on China and the potential relocation of production closer to markets, possibly affecting the Wärtsilä Maritime, because the traffic, they change a bit the roads that ships are going on?
Yeah, no, let's see how this evolves. I mean, we are clearly very well established in China, and we have joint ventures in China producing engines for Chinese shipping industry. I mean, we should acknowledge that about half of the world's shipbuilding capacity is in China. And then, of course, we have a strong footprint in Vaasa to work, with many other parts of the world. So then, if you see how potential geopolitical, conflicts could play out for world trade, I think that is a big topic. I mean, you're right in the sense that if the tension between U.S. and China will, evolve into a situation where there starts to be, outright sanctions or blockages, that will have an impact on world trade and, of course, the marine flows. But I think when we talk to customers, when we talk to industry experts, etc., it's likely that if the trade transforms, then there will be more regional shipping. There might be less between China and US, clearly, but between regional it will grow because. So what is the net effect of that is very hard to predict.
Then you have stated that energy's strategic focus has shifted from EBC towards EEQ, if I only pronounce that right. What do these terms really mean, and how is in your order book reflecting this change?
So EPC, engineer, procure, construct. This is the biggest difference, you could say, between EPC and EEQ is that EEQ is equipment, is the engine plus some auxiliary equipment. On the EPC side, then you add civil and installations. I mean, preparing the groundworks, and that could be pretty extensive. So basically, when we say that we have shifted the order backlog, we have less of EPC, so we don't have those big projects. We have restructured the project so we don't have the civil and installation portion, so to say. Either the customer takes this, or we have other parties that takes the responsibility and the risks for that.
Yeah.
And when we went into 2022, we had about 40% of the order backlog in energy was equipment, EEQ. Today it's 80%. And what the result of that is that we have a better risk reward profile, so to say. I mean, the EPC projects, they involve more risk, and you need to be able to price for that risk. Otherwise, if you can't, it's better to focus on equipment.
Yeah, that's clear. Then about the storage system, one investor asked this, that what kind of storage system service do you offer right now?
So first of all, one should acknowledge that service business on storage is a much smaller business compared to the engines.
Yeah.
And the reason is it's all electrical equipment. There is no rotating parts or anything, so mechanically it's less services when it comes to maintaining a battery storage. What we are evolving more on the services side is using our GEMS digital platform to use our power system knowledge to integrate the battery storage to the power system, and working in tandem with different generating assets like thermal generation or wind or solar, to that cooperation, that interplay, to optimize that in the best way for lowest overall energy cost and best uptime reliability. So the service business around that and the software related piece, that is a growing piece, and that is more interesting. It's still a relatively small share to the overall equipment within storage, but it's a growing piece.
Are there same kind of performance-based agreements in the storage system service than you offer in other your services?
So far that has been very limited.
Yeah.
Is there potential for the future? There could be potential for the future.
Okay.
But so far it's limited.
Okay, that's good to hear. Then final question about the service. What kind of development you expect to see in the future? You have talked more and more about your strategic that you want to grow on the service ladder.
Yes, moving up the service value ladder.
Moving up, yes.
Yeah, and the value ladder, the first step is spare parts and service hours, the transactional business. Second step are the different type of agreements. Third step is retrofits, changing an engine or, preparing a vessel for new fuel. And then we have the performance-based long-term commitments where we share the upsides and downsides with the customer. And the whole concept of moving up this ladder is moving customers step by step. Maybe not from first step to fourth step, but from being a transactional customer to first agreement, maybe a simple agreement, or somebody that has a simple agreement to more advanced agreements, etc. And we talked about there is a scaling effect in revenues. If you move from step number 1 to 5, you could scale revenues with a factor 2 to 5. So that is our business logic. We continue this journey, and we see that it's working for us. If you take the second step on agreements, it's growing, 30% coverage, but it's growing. Traditionally, it's been growing with about a percentage unit every year, and we continue to see a good development. AI and digital solutions is a critical part of this journey, because we use the data to be able to give advice and act proactively to keep up keep stellar fuel consumption and uptime reliability.
Then final topic about your new engine technologies. You did launch ammonia engine, and before that there is methanol engine. What about the commercialization? So the launch that when you will get more revenue from these new engines?
Okay, so I understand. I mean, first of all, we should acknowledge that it will take time for some of this technology to really take off, because it's not consumer goods. It's a slow-moving industry. But if you look at methanol, I won't go into the numbers, but we have sold quite a few methanol engines. Ammonia is very, very early. So this is, we just launched it. But if you look at Wärtsilä's, you could say, journey going forward, it would take some time for the sales and revenue from the new engines to pick up. That's why our service business is so important, because it's right here, right now. The way we grow the service business is it's faster than growing the business based on the new engines. Now, one should acknowledge that, you know, one of the key challenges is availability of the fuel. And of course, that will take time to evolve the availability of the new fuels. But this is not what is holding back people, because when people order new vessels, they want to be prepared. They want to have a technology that is future, prepared for the future, so they can future-proof. So the capability to sell new engines, there is a little bit connection to availability of the fuel, but it's much more important what strategy the operators has to make sure, you know, during the lifetime of my 25, 30 year lifetime of a vessel, how do I make sure that I have the technical flexibility I can adapt to different fuels? Yeah, so the technical flexibility is the main theme right now. That is the key. Yeah. Thanks for your time and all the best this year. Thanks a lot.